Now, on the bright side, some things went ahead today at this Republican National Convention there in Florida. And the reason we're talking about it is that Chris Christie took some shots at old baldy Jerry Brown.
Oh, man.
Have the audio. Chris Christie, of course, is the governor of New Jersey, and we've always appreciated the fact that he'll get in the union's faces and tell it like it is. He had those town hall meetings where he took on many teachers.
To their face.
Explaining, we're broke, and you guys got a good deal, and it's time that we make a change.
And when they started whining and complaining, he mocked them. He is the best political speaker. He's the most honest political speaker, the bluntest, and he says all the things that are true. And we have a very similar state to New Jersey. They had a huge budget deficit. The unions had a stranglehold. Teachers' union was preposterously greedy. And Christie single-handedly told them off and had to deal with the Democratic legislature at the same time while making radical changes in the way the government operates there. Because he was willing to tell the truth, and nobody could sustain an argument against him because he was right. When you have absolute truth on your side, your opponents eventually will shrivel. And what we don't have in California in the political sector is a single spokesperson who stands up and tells the truth and puts these winners like Jerry Brown and the legislative leaders like Weasel Steinberg and Fat John Perez, put them on the defensive. Start pointing out the truth, they'll have no response for it. Nobody's had a response for Christie.
No, and he remains popular in a state where they did not raise taxes, and they're on their way back to having less budget problems. Whereas in California, we're being asked to raise our own taxes in November. And you'll hear in this audio, Christie really takes a dig at Jerry Brown about the idea of raising taxes. So he was speaking to California's Republican delegation at a breakfast meeting this morning, and here's a couple of minutes of audio.
When I became governor of New Jersey, they said the same things to me that I heard people in California saying when I was out there recently to visit. We don't know if it can be fixed. The problems are too big. The challenges are now too grave. Maybe we've just given California away to the public sector unions, to the masters of huge spending and huge government. But it doesn't have to be that way. It does not have to be that way.
No.
And so there'll be lots of folks who you'll tell back in California that you paid to come here to Tampa, Florida during a hurricane. And they're going to wonder what you were thinking about. And you got those cynical folks who surround you every day when you tell them you're involved in politics, that they say, what are you doing that for? They're all the same. Doesn't matter who you vote for. One politician's just like the next. Well, you could tell them you've got one great example of how that's not true. Look at New Jersey and look at California. Made two very different choices. New Jersey decided to take a chance. New Jersey decided to take a risk on a conservative Republican governor in a blue state. And California made a bad choice by going with an old retread who, let me tell you this, I cannot believe you people elected Jerry Brown over Meg Whitman. Now, listen, I don't want to be insulting this morning because it's early, and I got plenty of time to be insulting the rest of the day, but I want to tell you, Jerry Brown, I mean, he won the New Jersey presidential primary over Jimmy Carter when I was 14 years old. And now I got to sit at the National Governors Association with this guy and have him come up to me and say, Governor Christie, stop telling people that I want to raise taxes. I'm not trying to raise taxes. And I said, yeah, you are, Jerry. And he said, no, Chris, I'm not. I'm going to put it on the ballot and let the people decide. Man, that's leadership, isn't it?
And if you had made a different choice, you know that California would be moving in a significantly different direction today. Now, the only thing I take exception in there is the fact that he thinks Meg Whitman would have pulled us out of this. I don't believe that.
No.
She did not have the force. She was not making the arguments Christie made when he was running for governor of New Jersey. Instead, her stupid handlers were telling her, to kowtow for the Latino vote. And it absolutely deep-sixed her chances.
She double-talked and waffled.
They're really close friends.
Yeah, he's saying nice things about her friend, but Meg Whitman is no Chris Christie. But what he said about Jerry Brown, he's absolutely right. And Brown actually goes around saying, "Stop saying I want to raise taxes." Well, you're running the campaign for the yes vote on Prop 30 to raise taxes. You deceitful bag. You can finish that yourself.
Well, that's a politician for you. Don't go telling people I'm trying to raise taxes. I'm asking the people to vote on it. And Christie's right. That's real leadership.
Yeah.
You come in and defer.
But except he is leading. He's the chief spokesman for the proposition. He's raising the money.
That is true. You think he would remain neutral.
He's not.
He would say, all right, we'll put taxes on the ballot, let the people decide. And you're right. You're right. There's raising millions and millions of dollars to raise our taxes.
He's a deceitful bag of crap because this entire process he's been in charge of. He arranged for the signature gathering operation to get enough signatures to get it on the ballot. He is now collecting the money, and we'll talk about that later on, from all the unions and all the big businesses in California.
Corporations are giving big bucks.
Corporations are writing six-figure checks to Jerry Brown so that they don't get taxed on their products and services. They'd rather have a sales tax on everybody and an income tax on many.
And you know why he did this? Because his first year in office, he tried to get enough Republicans to take off their clothes. He tried to make a deal with them to raise taxes through the legislature. Ultimately, that wasn't successful, and he got annoyed, and he got bored, and he got frustrated, so he said, oh, well, I'll just have people vote on it, but then I'll raise millions to get my taxes passed. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris Christie went from town hall to town hall, standing up to the public employee union people and telling them we're broke and the people pay enough taxes, and we got to do something different.
You've never heard any Republican or any Democrat stand up at any public meeting and tell off a single union worker in the entire state. None. Christie would do it as a full-time job.
They seem to enjoy it almost.
He relished in it, and he'll take you on.
Why? Because the facts and the arguments are on his side. He didn't care.
He chased some guy down on the Jersey Boardwalk the other day. He was buying ice cream with his kids,
right.
And somebody heckled him, some teacher, and he went out. Christie chased after him.
He did.
On the
boardwalk.
boardwalk.
You know, when a man that large is eating an ice cream, it takes a lot to get him away from his treat.
Yeah, but once he gets rolling.
Watch out.
You don't want to stand in his way.
Break some planks on the boardwalk.
So this is what you need, somebody who tells the truth, and tells the truth to the face of these greedy public union workers. And nobody – I love these California Republicans sitting there in the delegation. I wonder how many of them are local or state politicians chuckling away at Chris Christie. Well, what are you doing?
Why don't you find somebody like Chris Christie to run as a Republican who can speak bluntly about our fiscal problems, who can talk back to the public employee unions? Whitman was mealy-mouthed. And she was overhandled. Of course, she never really ran for public office before. She had no idea.
No, she was
This guy was a prosecutor, so
she was very dim.
She was dim.
Yeah.
Sorry that they're good friends, but Christie, we don't just disagree with that part. I don't think Whitman was the answer. I think if she was governor now, we'd have the same Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff going on.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we got another piece of audio to play from Chris Christie, which is mostly just entertaining. But the fact that he called Jerry Brown an old retread makes me have a new nickname for Jerry Brown, the Bald Tire. And we're about to go flat, aren't we?
All right. We'll have more. Chris Christie when we come back. Another clip involving Barbra Streisand. This is good. John and Ken, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.